Hey there, my name is Katherine Taylor. I am the lawyer for business owners. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about when you should hire a lawyer, and I'm actually going to tell you when you don't need to hire a lawyer when you're forming a business. Most of the time when somebody is going to form a business, they're either going to form an LLC or a corporation. There are lots of other entities that can be formed, but those are the two main types of entities that are formed in the state Secretary of State offices. When you form an LLC, you generally file articles of organization, and along with the articles of organization, you need to include in that document the name of the incorporator, typically the name and address of the resident agent or registered agent, and then the principal office of the company. And a purpose statement, and that's pretty much it. I mean, all states are different, but that's generally the information that is required to form an LLC in most states. With a corporation, you have to provide that information, but in addition, there's more information that must be provided in the articles of incorporation that are filed with the state. So along with what you have to include in an LLC article of organization, you need to, in the articles of incorporation for a corporation, include typically the name of the initial director who's going to serve on the board of directors. You need to include information about the stock, the classes of stock, the number of shares that are authorized to be issued by the corporation, the par value of the shares, and you have to indicate whether you want the company to be a close corporation or not. So as you can see, there's a lot more you have to do and a lot more questions you might have when you're going to form a corporation versus an LLC. And that's where I say to clients, or anybody who asks, you really do want to talk to a lawyer when you're looking at whether or not, for instance, you want to form a close corporation, or frankly, how many shares you want the company to be authorized to issue, and who the initial director may or may not be. There are ways that you can, for instance, keep some of that information more private rather than having that information be available to the public. And so that usually is the time when I say, okay, let's move over, and I think it's a good idea for you to consult a lawyer. In addition, and this is extremely important, and one thing that many people do not do, if you do file articles of incorporation for a corporation yourself, you can do it online, and even if you get everything right in the articles of incorporation, you have to make sure that you take the next steps. Most states require there to be an organizational meeting of the board at which the board will have to adopt bylaws which have been drafted for review by the board, and you have to actually issue the stock certificates, or at least record the stock issuances in a transfer ledger. These are items that many people don't do. They forget to do, or they don't even know that they're required to do it. And if you don't do these things, the absence of these can cause many problems down the road. The main problem, which is essentially the loss of your limited liability status, which basically is the reason why you form an entity in the first place. So you don't need a lawyer to form an LLC online. You don't need a lawyer to form a business corporation online, but you do need a lawyer to take all the next steps that are required to get the corporation running and validly operating as it should be. Information's on the screen. Call us, email us if you have any questions at Taylor Legal. Thanks.